PG-14. Tina wakes up one night with a cloth over her eyes, and she can't see through it. She stirs, and feels her shoulders pressing down on an uncomfortable bed. The restraints feel different than the recent ones. She reaches her hand around, feeling a metal railing and a sheet over her. Listening, it seems like she is in a hallway, being wheeled on a gurney, and there is no one around. She could not hear any distant voices.
Here is where you can prove yourself to us, vampire.
The last word being figuratively spat on her shoulder, as someone whispers to her. She did not recognize the voice. The mystery voice continues.
We have a family member. They were shot, and the bullet is still in their hip. The doctors wouldn't go in to remove it due to the person's age and insurance. If you pull it out and work things out with their hip, we'll keep you around longer.
Tina nods and whispers.
I'm not an expert in surgery, but I told you that I would try. I haven't done this sort of thing professionally, but I have.
She feels that describing the way she learned the ability is actually handling dead bodies might not be a great sort of reference. She continues.
I hope I can help.
She rarely moves a muscle, as the wheels keep turning under her hospital bed.
By the way, can we take one of these with us? Whatever you have had me on has been really uncomfortable.
She gets no return reply, not even a giggle. After another couple of minutes on the bed, they stop in a room. There is some scuffling in other parts of the room, some tools clanking around on tables, and some beeping of machines. Tina feels low in her tank of blood and whispers.
Hey guys, or gals.
Footsteps come closer to her.
What privilege do you want now?
I'm low on blood, and need some in order to help. Let me have some.
She leans her head towards the speaker.
As I said, I haven't done this specifically before, and it might take a little more use of blood in order to help this person. I need much more in my system so I don't lose it and try to fight or drink the patient.
One of the voices calls out, but from another person.
Yes, we know. We'll get you more.
Someone walks to another area and Tina hears a squeaky wheel on a cart rolling over. She is given a plastic tube and she sucks it in, able to taste the blood slowly inching its way into her mouth. She drinks slowly for some time. There are quite a few bags of blood, which she is glad, since she figured they would underestimate what she needs. They are all fairly chilled though, not like some of the recent ones she has had in darker places. Once she is well off enough, she is told.
We have wheeled you next to another bed. There is a makeshift wall of separation between us and the person's head, and the person who is giving the meds and anesthesia. You will not try to look around the wall, or we will stake you. You will not look back towards one of us. We will stake you. We will be watching everything you are doing, and we have 2 doctors with us to make sure you aren't doing anything nasty if you do.
You will stake me, got it.
You do not need to do anything but get to the bullet lodged in this person's hip, remove it, and if you can do as you say, repair the bone.
There is someone with a deeper voice who says,
We have an X-ray of the person's hip. It is on their chest. When you look at the body, and look at their chest, you will see where the bullet is. There is also scar tissue around where this has healed. It is an old wound. See what you can do.
The same previous voice speaks up.
You have 2 trained people behind you, ready to punch your back with wood, and everyone in the room knows what you are, and wouldn't mind seeing you hurt, so don't think we aren't ready to kill you if we need to. If you leave your hand on the person's hip and keep them hostage, you will be in a world of pain. We have thought of the many possibilities on this front. Don't do anything stupid.
She nods and returns her answer.
Well, shucks, since you thwarted all of my devious, well-thought-out plans. I probably should just help.
Some surgical gloves are aggressively put on her hands, her straps are released and she is allowed to sit up.
Patient is to your left.
She rolls her feet off the side, and the railing on the bed is let down. She asks,
Can I take off the blindfold?
She hears an affirmative answer from behind her, and she slowly slides it to her forehead. Right in front of her, less than 5 feet from the bed, is a man's body lying still, an X-ray on his chest, in sweatpants pulled away from the hip, and no shirt. His white-haired torso shows some old muscle, and a mean bruise on one side of his hip. She slowly holds out her hands to the side.
I need someone to cut the tips off of these gloves. I need skin contact for this to work.
Off to one side, someone steps up.
You didn't mention this before.
What, did I not fully explain this power of mine to you, before you woke me up tonight, not knowing if you'd let me wake up or not? Like it has come up before. I wasn't even sure if you would let me try to help this person, or just kill me. I won't do anything bad.
Someone comes over to the side and cuts the fingertips out of the latex gloves, but leaves the rest on. She reaches over for a scalpel on the wheeled table, and hears an objection from behind her, and feels the obvious something at her back. She says slowly,
I am getting a scalpel to cut in. What do you think I can do against all of you?
She slowly reaches for it, and picks it up. Looking at the X-ray, she sees a recent one of this guy's hip, then pushes it down to the floor, no longer needing it. She asks,
You have this guy out, right? The last thing I'd want is him screaming and shaking.
An answer comes from behind the plastic sheet near his head.
Yep, he's out.
The procedure starts with 3 cuts. She makes a sort of bracket in the man's skin. She then digs in, using her fingers to mystically dig through muscle under the skin, and over the hip bone, pulling it strangely to the side, parting the muscle. Blood is all over her gloves, and she is shaking, trying not to go for it, and lick it off her gloves. She feels it would be bad form. Or they would just kill her. Parting the muscle, peeling it with her fingers with the use of her blood power, some of it, sort of, flops outward, and it did not take long for them to see the hip, and the shrapnel in it. Reaching in, she uses her blood power to manipulate bone to squeeze the bullet out, sort of like a very graphic way of popping a pimple. The bone helps her squeeze the bullet out, and it finishes as a sort of pinched bone and hole in it. The old bullet is pulled out of the hip by another. Tina uses more bone manipulation to scrape away from more of the bone that healed strangely around the bullet, like a scar, then smooths it over like she is planting a seed in the ground. Melding around the bone on that side of the hip, she is able to make that whole side of the hip more sturdy, she hopes. The blood power to meld the muscle back into place is used, and the skin is closed up, sealing it like a pie crust, as though there is not even a scar. The whole procedure takes less than 30 minutes. There is one who spoke earlier with a deeper voice. He looks down at the handiwork.
Whoa.
Is the only noise that breaks the silence for a few seconds.
We'll need to get another X-ray, but it looks like a success.
Blindfold?
One pulls behind her, emphasizing the point by scoring her back with the stake behind her. She slowly raises her hands to the blindfold, lowers it over her eyes, and ties it on tight. She lays back down, and puts her arms to the side, allowing them to strap her down, once more.